Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another top 10 video for you. Today we have my top 10 big folders that you can actually carry. These are all knives that are over 3.5 inch in blade length, but are still knives you can easily carry. This means a lot to me, this list. It's one I put a lot of thought into because my tastes in the last year and a half or so have gradually drifted more towards the bigger, thicker side. Insert joke in the comments below as you see fit. But I am getting, so I like larger knives. When I started this channel, I was more into smaller, slimmer knives. I think 3.5 is about that limit of what I call just a mid-size EDC folder. I think anything over that, it's officially, a big knife, especially in the eyes of a lot of people looking onto it. But these are all ones that are, some are just a little over that limit, some are way over that limit that I've found to actually be pretty reasonable and easy to carry. Some are inexpensive. Some are not so inexpensive. Some are predictable. Some are going to be kind of a shock to you. So without any further ado, let's get going. I'm not going to go through all the stats. We're just going to list, blade length, overall length, price, and weight, because weight's a big determining factor here. So I want to make sure I got that in. So we will start off with the Spyderco Shaman. Now, this is not a gigantic knife by blade length for this thing. It's only 3.625, so that's perfectly fine. But it's still just a bit, or sorry, 3.6 inches. So it's just a bit over that, 8 inches overall. But it is a big, thick boy, and it definitely is one that I think most people would quantify as a large knife. Now, there are other Spydercos I could have put in here. They're Police, Endura, Native Chief. They'll have like 4-inch blades. But honestly, I feel like this carries even better than those. So with the Native Chief being very, very close, I would say the Shaman carries just a bit better than those. So that's why that's on here instead. You were looking at a blade length, like I said, of 3.6 inches, overall length of 8 inches. And the cost now is $202, which is been a bit of a controversy. This is definitely the poster child for the Spider-Ocalypse price increases that we experience every year. This was like $155 when I first got it. I sold that one. I wound up buying this one used, and I paid, it was a trade, but still basically the amount that I traded for it, basically the same $155, and it was used. So they are holding their value, I guess, but they have come out with a ton of sprint runs. They're extremely popular for sprint runs. They've done a bunch of them, Rex 45, there's an S90V, there's all kinds of stuff. But it is a pretty cool knife, and I do really enjoy carrying it to the point, actually, that I have considered selling this a couple of times because these knives are on this list. It means that I keep them around. And if I have a knife that I don't have anything planned for review-wise or ever, or I'm not just madly in love with, they do get sold to feed the beast, get more stuff to review, keep things going. And twice now, this has come within a hair's whisker of getting sold because I thought, well, I'm going to carry it one more day and see how I like it. And if it doesn't blow my skirt up as much as it used to, I'm going to get rid of it. The 2 times I've done that, both times, it's wound up staying in my pocket for 3 days. That one day turned into 2 or 3. So that just says something about how well it carries. I don't know if it's the angle of the pocket clip. I don't know what it is. But like I said, I think it carries better than the Police or the Endura. And I also think it even carries better than like a PM2. Definitely carries better than a Manix 2, which are ostensibly smaller knives. Weight of 5.2 ounces. So it's not horribly heavy. But it's not a lightweight by any stretch of the imagination. But not too bad. I just love the way it carries, and it is so comfortable in the hand. It just really well and truly is. Has the compression lock, and you can even front flick it. It does all the usual Spidey flick stuff, but let me see if I can do it. Caveat, there is a tripod next to my elbow, but yep, second try. Yeah, you can front flick it. You got a little wrist, but you can do it. It's just a very fun fidget knife, with the exception of the thing everybody talks about on the Shaman. You see, I just did it properly, but it's pretty hard to screw it up because the blade tang does kind of go in right in the path of your finger there. So not like it's going to hurt you or anything, but it stops it from closing all the way. But once you get the timing down, it's pretty fun to fidget with. Enough about that one. Let's go on to the next. From one that is probably not a bargain with S30V steel to one that is absolutely a bargain in D2. We have the Ontario Rat Model 1, a true classic. Love this thing. Again, not a huge knife compared to some you're going to see here in a moment. 3.625 inch blade length, 8.625 inches overall. 4.98 ounces, so not too bad in the weight, but only $40. And this is one of the best 40 bucks you can possibly spend on a knife. It's something you're going to keep forever. There's an OS8 version that's even less expensive. So depending on whether you want a stainless steel, you have to sharpen a bit more often, or a non-stainless that you won't have to sharpen as often, you can choose your own adventure there. Running on Foster Brown's washers, just a very simple knife with a very comfortable, awesome blade shape. And yeah, these don't feel big in your pocket at all because there's no flipper tab. So they're not too horrible. They're actually really pretty darn good. You can get deep carry clips for them here and there. It basically almost doubles the cost of the knife, but like on eBay and stuff, you can find them if you search around enough. This one obviously gets a fair amount of use. I think it's even got some corrosion around a little bit. I'll have to clean that off after this. I never even noticed that till just now, but it gets used, it gets abused. It's a $40 knife. I don't care. This is kind of one of those knife guys' knives. Like, you got to get one of these. And you could be with someone who's carrying a, $650 Chris Reeve, and they knife check you and you pull out a Rat 1, you still know it's a knife guy. Even if it's not an expensive knife, like, that's a guy who knows his crap. These things are awesome. So next up, we will go to one that is absolutely in the large knife category, and another one that's a pretty iconic design. I think that would be the Cold Steel Recon 1. This happens to be a Tanto. I did have the drop point with the green handle before, and I sold that and replaced it with this. I like Tantos. You're going to see another Tanto on this coming up. It's just a really awesome knife. Ergonomics are just superb, and it does carry pretty well, with one little caveat, and this is not specific to the Recon 1. I have to do this on a few different Cold Steels, and it's a little trick that Baz on Blades had on his channel an eon ago, and I do it to a lot of them. You might want to sand down the contact patch where this pocket clip lands, because otherwise it is a pocket shredder for sure. All you do is just tape off around here, with the clip on, and just put a couple layers of tape around there and remove the pocket clip, sand it down so it's landing on a smooth spot instead of on this very aggressive G10, and it slides in and out of the pocket. I'm not going to say like a dream, but pretty good. And once it's in there, again, no flipper tab, so it carries really well. Pocket clip is angled perfectly. It is right hand, left hand. This is a totally ambidextrous knife. Comes with two different pocket clips, obviously, because the pocket clip is shaped, so it has to be shaped the other way. I wish more companies did that. I think that would be so much better than just the designing a pocket clip that has to work on both sides. I think having individual pocket clips is a very good idea. The action on it isn't anything that's going to, blow you away, but it's perfectly good enough. You can one-hand it without the sharp part hitting your finger. Some Cold Steels aren't that way, so don't try it on all of them. Test it out before you try it, because I've been bitten by a lot of Cold Steel just assuming that they could do that. But it's meant to be kind of slow rolled, and it's a great knife. The Recon 1, how can you go wrong? You are looking at make sure I got the right one. Yep, a blade length of dead on 4 inches, an overall length of 9.375 inches. Costs only about $100 with S35 VN now. That is not bad, and it is hollow ground. A lot of Cold Steel S35 VNs aren't hollow ground anymore. This one is still hollow grind. And if you're gonna get a Tanto, man, Cold Steel, they know what they're doing with the old Tantos, because I am kind of a Tanto fan, and they do an excellent job. And the weight on this guy is about 5.3 ounces, so not too shabby. Definitely something pretty easy to carry. It is very slim in the pocket. It fits in the pocket extremely well, again, after you take care of that clip. Unless you just hate your pants, then have at thee. Do what you want. Next up, we're gonna let's stick in the Cold Steel family, and we're gonna do that for the next couple, actually. So you knew there would be some Cold Steels on here. There's gonna be one more Cold Steel and one more the guy who's connected to Cold Steel. This one's gonna surprise you. I think this is the biggest surprise of the list, because it does weigh 10.2 ounces and it is big, but I do carry it, so much so that I have 2 of them now. But the one I'm going to put on this list, because it's the one that's still in production and that you can get, is the Cold Steel Formax Scout. I know it's huge, it's heavy. Brian, you're crazy. I'm not. This is not that bad to carry. It honestly isn't. During this global pandemic thing, the first month I was locked in my house, I had this in my pocket a whole lot. Granted, I'm just in my house, but I'm still walking around, standing up, sitting down, doing all the things you do if you were outside of the house. And it was perfectly fine. When I could leave the house again to go to the grocery store and things like that, I would forget that it was in my pocket. I mean, not forget, it's a big old knife, but it wasn't so obtrusive that I felt like I needed to take it out and put something lighter in my pocket. It was all right. It really honestly was. I do not mind carrying the Formax. Is it something I would carry in, basketball shorts? No. Is it something I would carry in any sort of lightweight clothing? No, probably not, because it's going to slap around a bit. But the kind of stuff that I wear, even when it's hot out, I'm usually wearing like cargo shorts, tactical shorts, something like that. They work fine. It works fine. It's absolutely fine. The ergonomics are outstanding because it's just a big old thick boy. It's pretty hard to get this wrong. You can choke up, all that stuff on it. And it does cut things. It absolutely does. People think these are just hand axes. They are not. They are actually, is it a like, paper slice? It slices paper pretty good. Is it like a cardboard cutting for hours at a time sort of machine? I mean, it can be because it's comfortable. There are knives that will slice better, but it's perfectly fine for your normal sort of EDC cutting. And like I said, I like it enough that I got 2 of them. So these used to be made in the USA and then in Taiwan. This is an American-made one. I dyed the scales on it. Grape Ape, as he is known. As of last evening. But I love the Formax design, but this is definitely the best one. Even if they still made this, which they don't, the American made one, I'd probably still recommend that because you're looking at only $110.50, just price per ounce. You're getting 10.2 ounces of knife for $110.50. I haven't done the math, but that's a really good deal. Just price per ounce of knife. That's pretty good. You are looking at, let me find it on here. You're looking at a blade length of 4 inches, hence the name Formax. You want to get the maximum out of a 4-inch blade, Andrew Demko design. Overall length of a whopping 10 inches, as I said, 110.50 and 10.2 ounces. Now we'll put that away and come out with another knife that is made by the designer of the Formax, and I believe the Recon one as well. Somebody correct me down below if I'm wrong. But this is a fairly new addition to the channel. This is the Andrew Demko 8020. More specifically, this is the Demko Knives MG 8020. So it means it has a machine ground blade. The difference between that is about $400. So if you get the hand ground custom blade, it's $825. This is $425. Still expensive, but it is an actual Demko, quasi-custom, mid-tech, whatever you want to call knife. And it has the new shark lock on it. And I have just fallen in love with this thing in the last week or so. It's just a blast. It's very fidgety. In the unboxing video, it said I had some lock stick. That's all gone. You can thumb stud it, as you saw. You can Spidey flick it. You can slow roll it with that deployment hole if you want to. This is a 3V blade version. They also make 20 CV. It's choose your own adventure. When they're out, they're not out at the moment, but they are pumping them out. So I got mine early because I had a deadline for another publication for Knives Illustrated. So I had to get it quick. But it is a pretty much hand-built knife. It's obviously hand-assembled. As you can see, there's all clearly hand markings in there from the guy who put it together. But very comfortable in the hand. Big beefy boy, but man, it doesn't carry like it. It carries very well. The only caveat to the carry at all is the little fin for the shark lock. It does have a whole lot of jimping on it, and if your widow pinky rubs against that, you can feel it. But it's not the end of the world. It's a minor annoyance, if anything. But just a really cool knife. And the specs on this, you were looking at a 3.7-inch blade, 8.5-inch overall, weight of 6.3 ounces, so not too shabby for something that's so overbuilt like this. And yeah, like I said, price of $425 for the MG 8020 or MG 20, whatever we're supposed to call it. The full-on 8020 is $825. So that's a lot of money. I'd go with this one. Now, next up, let's do. What are we going to do here? We'll do this one. Another fairly recent addition to the channel. And honestly, this is the knife of all of these that in the last probably 2 months, I've definitely carried the most. That would be the Spartan Harsey folder. I just got it a month ago, but man, I can't keep this thing out of my pocket. It's my first Spartan knives. You guys bugged me forever to get one. And I don't know why I didn't. A lot of you guys said, oh, if you like Henderers, you're going to love this. Don't worry. Hender fans, I know I have some Hender fans here. There's one coming up. Don't worry. but I just have fallen in love with this thing. It is not horribly inexpensive at $460. But you're getting S35VN, soon to be S45VN. I think actually, even if you order one right now, it's probably gonna be S45VN. I got mine right at the tail end of the S35. Should have waited, but I'm impatient. Guess I'll just have to get another one. But I think they're S45VN. They're definitely transitioning to that very, very quickly. I got mine with the PVD coated handles, which is a little thing to talk about because this was not on the site in this configuration. If you go to the site right now, this configuration is not there, but they have a PVD with a PVD blade. I didn't want the PVD blade. I just called them up and they were like, oh yeah, sure, we can ship it out tomorrow. We have the parts. We can just put it together. And that's how they are to everybody. It's not just because I'm me. They will do that. If you see some combo you want to try on the site, call them up. If they got the parts, they'll do it. And I just think that is awesome. You are spec-wise looking at a blade length of 4 inches, overall length of 8.75 inches, $460. I don't think I did say that actually. And a weight of 6.1 ounces. It is right-hand, left-hand carry. I just think it's a very classic design. Bill Harsey, the iconic knife designer. It is running on, it looks like you'd think it was on bearings, but it isn't. It's actually on washers, but it is smooth as can be. This is another one that you can embarrassingly try and front flick while you have a monopod in your way. But oh, that came really close. First try. There you go. So you gotta get a little wrist, just like the Shaman, but yeah, you can front flick it. Matt Yun from Protech showed me that in one of his videos, and I've been trying to do it as effortlessly as he does since. This one's getting pretty well broken in now, so it's working pretty good. And this is a knife that definitely, if you do buy one, I got the same advice from Matt. Don't immediately take it apart and start adjusting stuff. Let it break in. And he was right, because after literally a week, it was just super smooth, very well broken in. Just like, and it's, I just adore this thing. Very easy to carry. Again, nicely angled pocket clip. That's kind of the secret here. You're going to see no flipper tab sticking out. Another one that's with one notable exception is a big help as well. Super easy to get your hand past. It's not so heavy that it really drags you down a whole lot. And it's just a great freaking solidly built knife. Now, next up, we'll go back to the budget realm here. This thing is awesome. I just love this knife so much. This CVW Shredder. You are looking at a blade length of 3.75 inches, overall length of 8.5 inches. Weight, the lightest here by far, of 3.74 ounces. And it only costs $60. And it costs like around 60. It's like 59 to like 63 or something for this layered G10. I got the layered blue and black G10, but you can just get plain old black or plain old whatever color for $59. But the action on it is outstanding. There's a dog barking. I don't care. Spidey flick it, all that stuff. It's just the action is great. And it is the most appropriately named knife ever created. Sometimes CVW has really stupid names, but this one is the Shredder. Yeah, that's exactly. This thing is like, it's like 14 thousandths behind the edge. Very, very thin hollow grind. D2 steel, and man, it'll destroy some cardboard like it kicked its puppy. I mean, it's awesome. Ergos are great. This is definitely the lightest use one I would say, because most of the others are pretty thick behind the edge and pretty thick blade stock. But this is one definitely is not. But just a really great knife. You can choke up on it. Really pretty hard to go wrong with the Shredder. Definitely one of my favorite budget knives, especially if you like larger knives. It's pretty unbeatable in the budget small knife category. This and the aforementioned R2 or Rat 1 D2. What do we do next? We'll do this one. You're gonna know what this is off camera just from the sound. Yes, it is the Microtech SOCOM Elite. You guys knew this was coming out. I love the SOCOM Elite. It took me over a year to find this one because I wanted a very specific configuration. My advice with Microtechs always is, if any Microtech model, they're not that expensive. Everybody thinks they're crazy. This was $290. Is that cheap? No, but they're not. I think people assume these are $400 or $500. They're not. They're just hard to get your hands on because they do come out in fairly short runs. So if you find one that's close to what you want, buy it. I did that with my UTX 85. I got one that was close to what I wanted, and I just bought it. And then my LUDT, luckily, I just ran into. I didn't know that configuration was available, and I fell in love with it and just bought it. But this one I did hunt around for. It took me over a year to find the exact one that I wanted. But it's such a cool knife. Again, a Tanto. I just like Tanto blades lately. I don't know. The action is so smooth. Just so smooth. This is a manual, but if you prefer autos, there's an auto version of this you could put in this exact same spot. $290. It's not that expensive, like I said, just hard to get your hands on. But that noise never gets old. Neither do the ergonomics. I'm really surprised this is on my list as something that's a big knife that you can actually carry, because it's only tipped down, which I usually hate tipped down. But you know what? It kind of works for this. It's a bit harder to get my hand past than some of the other ones on this list, but it's not horrible. The weight definitely isn't. 5.3 ounces, not bad at all, because these are all aluminum handles, so the weight is perfectly fine. That noise. And you are getting a full 4-inch blade length, overall length of 9 inches. As I said, $290, 5.3 ounces. Love it. Very thin behind the edge. Not a bad slicer at all for how big it is. And it makes that noise. What else do you want? It makes that noise. It looks like that, which is just cool. It looks about as tactical as you can possibly get. You can get them with all kinds of different colors on the handles, all kinds of different blade, blade coatings. You can get serrated, all kinds of stuff, different blade shapes. Like I said, I prefer this Tanto, but feel free to be wrong if you choose something else. Next up, well, another icon. I think all of these last ones are kind of iconic. We have the Chris Reeves Sebenza. People think that this is actually just, you wouldn't put it in the large knife category. It is. It's what do we have here? 3.625 inch blade, 8.335 inch overall, 4.73 ounces. So the weight's not too bad, but this is a pretty big knife. This is a knife that has a long enough blade that it's going to get you in trouble in some places. This is just a standard, this is a Sebenza 31, the new version. And so it just has the standard drop point. They haven't come out with the other shapes yet. You could also put in a full size in Singo here. I actually have it in a Singo on the way right now. It's a Tanto. What a shock. Yeah, you could put that in here. Or in Nkosi, sorry, not in Singo. The Nkosi. I kind of never get those right. I have an Nkosi on the way. It's a Tanto. What a shock. Well, we just rewound. But I do love the Sebenza a whole lot. It's an icon for a frickin' reason. I think the 31 made a lot of improvement, stuff that I was looking for. This one happens to have a Chris Reeve milled pocket clip on it. But you can see the pocket clip is angled now, so it's not not riding on the lock bar or anything anymore. The action is Chris Reeve. It's super, super smooth. It's not like drop, shutty, fidgety. I mean, you can if you wrist flick it a little bit. Only one thumb stud on this. You can get two if you want to. This is just the basic version, because this is definitely of my Chris Reeve knives, this is the one I have and will use the absolute most. This thing is in my pocket a whole lot, because even though it's expensive at $475, you don't care. Like, once you have one, you get a feel of it, and you're just like, I'm not going to hurt this thing. And if you do, you send it off to Chris Reeve, they put it through spa treatment, it comes back to you looking just brand new. So what's the worry? Sebenza means work horse. I hope somebody gets that reference. In what is it? Zulu. And it's meant to work. It's definitely what it's meant to do. So I do really love this Sebenza. Could not have one of these lists without having that. All right, now on to the last one. I saved it for last, but you guys knew there'd be a Hender on here. Now, another channel, which rhymes with Federal Flamplex, has one of these and said it's really kind of impossible to EDC. Well, I'm declaring him a pansy. It's all in good fun, people. I'm declaring him a pansy because I carry my XM24 a lot. Is it light? No, it's 7.25 ounces. Is it small? No, it's 4 inches and 9.12, 4 inches of blade, 9.125 overall. Does it have a big flipper tab that sticks out? Yes, it does. But I don't know that, again, angle the pocket clip, I think. It's not too horrible to carry. I actually really like it. This is the vintage series one. I don't know what these were new. I got this used. The regular ones are about $595. That is the downside. They are quite a bit more expensive than an XM18 because more material involved. But yeah, they're pretty pricey. But I love the look of this vintage one. It's 01 tool steel. It happens to be on this one. And I do carry it. And I don't find the XM24 to be that difficult to carry. Maybe MC works out too much and he's always wearing workout pants or something. I don't know. Maybe I wear more manly pants, but I don't find it to be too hard to carry. I'm just giving Metal Complex crap. Love the guy. Yeah, I find the XM24 to not be that bad to carry. If you are considering an XM18, but and maybe an XM24, but you're worried about how it carries, it's not that bad. Does an XM18 carry better? Yes. But this is not that hard to carry around. You can notice the weight, but it's not too shabby. So that's it. This has been a pretty long video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed doing it. Again, this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. Again, click, like, subscribe, join, all those things down below. I've been Brian. Have a good one.